What is up, YouTube? I have a hilarious video for you guys today. This is a story about a guy who dressed up as a woman to compete in the ladies section of a chess tournament, the Kenya Open. This happened at the beginning of April, and I just haven't seen enough coverage of this. I saw it on my timeline when it came out, but I really dove into the story and just found some hilarious details. So I thought I'd share it with you guys. This is a gentleman on screen, a biological male, just a uni kid, Kenya, and wants to join the tournament, but dresses up in a full hijab and niqab. He has the face covering as well, the glasses on, everything to make himself, as indistinguishable as possible. Also joins the chess tournament with a fake name, Millicent Aour. Who? So comes in, says he's like unrated, Millicent. No one's ever heard of this person. Also during the event, just not speaking because, that might give it away right there. Yeah, I'd like to register for your tournament. It's like, buddy, slipped up on day one there. So just like not speaking to anyone. The behavior was throwing off a lot of the other competitors, was leaving the room, only coming in to play the games, just not interacting with anyone. So lots of kind of suspicious behavior. This was also the outfit that this was in a chess.com report. Stanley Omondi is the real name. So I'll be referring to our main character here as Stanley throughout. But look at this, you go through all the trouble, make yourself indistinguishable, but then look at these shoes. Look at these shoes. Giving it away. Look at these things. I'm telling you, it took them a couple rounds because remember, you got to gather evidence. You can't just be like, we think that person's not who they are. Get out of our tournament for no reason, right? So they're gathering evidence. So Stanley played quite a few rounds in this tournament before they were able to uncover who it was and eventually expel him from the event. But I'm just saying, Stanley, if you had invested into high heels, you might have completed the whole tournament. You got halfway with these dirty Vans. Just think of your potential with high heels. Missed opportunity there, if you ask me. So, huge blunder by Stanley. This was the event. So, a lot of strong players. Highest rated player in the women's section, 2274, Josephine Heinemann, WGN. As we scroll down, we eventually find someone who should be listed at 0 rating because that's how they were registered, Millicent Aour, but Stanley Omondi, you can see here, they updated the official documents to now have his real name and real rating. All the results were reversed, so you can see that Stanley here, he's got 4 losses. The first round, that K means forfeit. So Stanley actually won the first game because his opponent didn't show up. Then in game number 2, he won this game as well. Game number 3, won it as well. Gloria Jumba, former Kenyan champion, just beats it. But then in game 4, this one's listed as lost, and it actually was. So shout out to Shakira. Well done. She actually beat Stanley. So the PGNs are available for all these games, but honestly, I just thought the game against Shakira was the only one to take a look at. I have this game here, so I thought we should just check it out real quick. Here it is. Stanley has the black pieces. We'll look at it from his point of view. And Shakira Ampere is, top Ugandan player, WCM herself. And as we can see from this game here, E4 straight out of the gate. Pretty even matchup. And eventually we see Stanley going for C5. So tons of trades. And look, honestly, just incredibly even game. I'm just breezing through the moves because this isn't where the action is. The action is later. Stanley wins a pawn, but okay, he's forced into passivity and ultimately trades queens in order to blunder his pawn again. And now it's even. White's guarding the pawn. And the black king, you'll notice, can't actually get in to attack that knight. So it's really hard to take this as the king's centralized. But then Stanley sort of like, you know, is he going to go back here and just make a draw? No, Stanley's going for it all. Knight c5. Calm down, Stanley. Knight d3, knight e5. Oops, a fork. And all of a sudden, Shakira with the white pieces is completely fine. She's winning this endgame. After a couple more moves, we see king d5, king d7, f5, brilliant move. And now the king, whichever way the black king goes, the king is going to go the opposite way. Simple pawn endgames. White just needs to play h4 here, for example. And then black's king has to move. So totally winning game. The game ended after h5. Not sure if, you know, this is when they came over and started inquiring whether Stanley was actually a woman or not. But the PGN ends after h5, but Shakira did win the game. And there's actually a photo of this moment as well. Right here. This is the position, right? You see that? That's just before f5 was played on the board. And the person beside them as well is like, they got no game going on themselves. They're just there to watch. They're spectating as well. So Stanley actually loses round 4. And after round 4, the organizers, who've been sort of gathering evidence and just, you know, coming to their conclusions for the first couple rounds, they take Stanley aside and they're like, look, we need some identification. And immediately he kind of breaks down and he's like, you know, immediately confesses, you know, I'm ready to accept whatever consequences. I'm sorry, financial troubles. And I thought that I would, you know, basically try to steal some money from the women's section, even though he's not allowed to be there. So credit to the organizers. They got the job done, you know, uncovering the mystery of Millicent, aka Stanley. So they did expel him from the tournament. Everyone that Stanley beat got a point back. It didn't matter for Shakira. She beat him anyway. So that was the game. But it's like Stanley. This is one of the lowest quality heists I've ever seen. You know, he joins the event, doesn't even put all the effort into his outfit. And then on top of this, we've got Stanley, who doesn't even win all his games. I mean, he's not cheating. He's not using an engine. But he's cheating in the sense that he's not representing his real rating. He said he was unrated. He made up a name. And he's in the women's section. He shouldn't be there, buddy. But, you know, I was also reading an article from ChessBase about this when it was posted. And, you know, it brings up some interesting points. But one of the things that I wanted to leave you guys with, some food for thought at the end of this video, was, you know, there will be a time in chess, and I think very soon, where people won't just be dressing up as women. You'll have transgender competitors. You'll have biological males who are transitioning and are competing in the women's section. What do we think of that? These are people that are going to be, you know, playing for top spots, trying to claim prizes in the women's section. This has already happened in many other sports. I'm just like waiting for the day when this happens to chess and how people will feel about that. Both organizers, players, fans, you know, whoever. This has obviously happened before, but in chess, you just don't really have that, oh, guys are stronger than women, you know, the physical aspect. You don't have that in chess. It's not like, you know, guys have an advantage because of the, you know, testosterone or anything like that. So it's a more difficult conversation to have, because I think implicitly, to even have that conversation, you're kind of saying that guys have an advantage over girls in chess. And we can see that there's a big difference between the best women players in the world and the best male players. And there's also titles, big title differences between the Grandmaster title and the Women Grandmaster title. So there already are those differences, but there's also a ton more players that compete who are male. So it's also a much larger sample. So I'm just saying, I'm waiting for that conversation to happen. I think it'll be wildly interesting, because you're probably going to have people on both sides that are like, wait a minute, you know, this person can't be competing for these prizes, but I think it's going to happen soon. So I'll leave you guys with this image, a classic one. This was, yeah, as you can see, NCAA swimming, transgender athlete, competed in the women's section and dominated, just crushed and took first place, national champion. So what do we think about when something like this happens in chess? How are people going to react? I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are. And, you know, let me know down in the comments below. what you think about something like that happening in chess pretty soon. And I hope you guys were as entertained by this story as I was when I first heard it. This guy has now been sentenced to 3-year ban from chess. He can't compete for 3 years. So, poor Stanley.